Dear children, we saw your images, the images of your bodies, on the iPhone reels, posted and then propagated across the internet, as if sharing your faces would erase your early erasure from this world. And those strangers among us posted and tweeted our prayers and those heartfelt condolences to your family members to demonstrate the only human connection we could muster in the midst of the inhuman realities of your deaths. And when your classmates reached out to politicians to ask what part of this foundation could be altered to make your bullet holes the last bullet holes a child suffers in this country, the politicians offered the same prayers as the rest of us. But no mechanism for those prayers to become realized into law. We saw images of your bodies and the face of the shooter plastered across the news alongside a ticker tape of warning that read, "Graphic content ahead." The president of the country that had sworn to protect you said that your community should have listened closer to the warning signs. Across the country, us pastors held vigils. The social workers provided resources for how to talk to children about grief. And the love of kind-hearted people filled the air in mourning. I even saw a TV anchor cry for you, real tears, that a child of God had been murdered in cold blood. He wished that we could stop the world from spinning in order to catch your breath inside of our memory. But not one of us who wanted to stop the world from spinning could realize our goal of actually stopping it. The evening shifted into the dusk, and the dusk shifted into the night, and we prayed the whole night, believe me, but the dawn came, in all its empty promise of newness and resurrection. All our good intention was not enough to bring you back to life. Children, I keep catching myself muttering to myself the following words. You should be safe tonight. You should be fighting with your parents and graduating from high school and growing old. We all have a time in which we die, and this was not your time. Over and over, I find myself catching the same cog. You should be safe. This was not your time. Only it was your time. You died. Violently, covered in the blood and gore of your gym teacher trying in vain to protect you with their body, and their resolve that if their ribcage could stop just one more bullet, you might have a fighting chance to survive, but you died. To a mass shooter armed with an automatic rifle, like the children before you. The children of Columbine and Sandy Hook and the other thousands. You joined the young thousands in this parade of senseless death that leaves us nowhere but God to turn to, and God has no answers for why our prayers stopped being answered, except for reminding us that prayer itself has never been enough. In Scripture, it's clear. Moses and his people were not liberated through magic. They walked and died in the wilderness for freedom. Jesus was not excavated from his tomb without rolling aside the boulder first. Children, we saw images of your bodies as if they were our own tombs, because they are our own tombs. Each one of your corpses is a heavy millstone around our neck. Each one of your wounds is written in permanent ink across our ledger. The living among us must pick up the tab we have charged on your heads by not protecting your right to a full life. The president is right. We should have listened to the warnings. The warnings of your classmates for gun reform. The warnings of the psychologists that say that isolation and loneliness felt by children in our country is at an all-time high. The warnings of God that prayer never saved anyone by magic, but through hard work. Children, in the coming days, it will become clear what your legacy will be. We cannot choose to stop the world from turning, but we can choose to honor the love that this nation is sending to you as you leave your bodies behind and are welcomed into what lies beyond. We can do this by acting to ensure that this never happens again. We can do this by promising to make it so that you are the last. It is my prayer in this moment that this country never forgets you. It is my prayer that this country never forgets your images and names and bodies and smiles and pain and the indelible mark each of you have left on this earth. It is my prayer that those who are dedicated to praying are willing to pray less with our silence and more with our feet and with our fists and with our money and with our screams. Your deaths are worth screaming over. Your deaths are worth changing laws to protect the future of the children in our country. Children, I pray your deaths are worth more than we can ever say or do to appease the great sin we have committed against you. Children, I pray that we will try.